Believe it or not, I'm 63-year-old. Yeah, no, I'll say that. I've always been quite youthful for my years. I still avid Manchester United supporter, and I was still going in paying as a junior, which was under 16s when I was 21-year-old. And Jerry thankfully recognises that that youth was on my side, or the youthful look. But when he put me in front of a customer when I was in my early 20s, he said, it's a bit of a challenge this. You're like a young kid going in telling people what we're doing and asking for their support and asking them to trust you. So he said, why don't you grow a moustache like me? And Jerry had a big black moustache there. Now, I could never grow a big black one, but I did start getting some bum fluff around my face there. And Jerry thought that helped the situation. Hi, I'm Steve Seddon, Client Services Director for Morson. So going back to school, I did really well at maths. Maths was my favourite subject, and technical drawing, and science. So very technical, and I excelled in those subjects. I went to Eccles Grammar School. I was one of only 4 people in the junior school that got the choice of going to grammar school. I did well at school. Left there in 1976 with 9 O-levels. Fortunately, when I left school, I didn't want to go into further education completely. I decided I wanted an apprenticeship. It was my choice where I wanted to go, and with the results that I had from school and academia, I could pick which career I wanted, and I wanted to either go into a bank because I was good at numbers, or go into engineering, technical drawing. So fortunately, I got offered an apprenticeship at a company called Mitchell Shackleton, which were the world leading crankshaft manufacturer organisation, and I got a job as an apprentice draftsman there, which involved 1 year on the shop floor in a training school, learning how to operate machinery and make things. So if you're going to go into a drawing office environment, you need to learn how to make things before you can draw it and design it. After two and a half years, I realised that a crankshaft's a crankshaft. All it did is vary in size. And I decided then at 19-year-old I wanted to do something different. So I saw an advert in the local Eccles Journal, placed by Jerry Mason, our founder, for aircraft jig and tool draftsman. And I wrote to Jerry Mason and I said, I'm in the middle of an apprenticeship, however I'm quite ambitious and I'd be interested to move into aircraft jig and tool design. And I got an interview. So I went for interview in January 1980, and I took my dad with me for the interview. I was such a young age, and he wanted to make sure I was making the right move, and it turned out that my dad actually almost interviewed Jerry himself. Then without me knowing, Jerry then came to my house to meet my mum and dad while I was out, sat down, had a coffee with them, and gave my mum and dad his assurance, his personal assurance that he'd look after me, and wanted to offer me the job to continue my apprenticeship and take the 5-year apprenticeship out to when I was 21. One of the first projects that I worked on was the tooling for manufacturing the Boeing 757 wing trailing edge and leading edge. We had to draw everything on a drawing board. There was no computers in those days. After a period of time and getting to know Morson and brewing up for everybody, I was then let loose on my own. I started doing my own drawings, and then I started dealing with customers. And then I moved from a draftsman stage into becoming a designer. And then from being a designer, I then became a section leader, looking after a team of people, running projects. And then from being a designer then to becoming drawing office manager. And then it also allowed me to work on many different projects. So initially military and aircraft, civil aircraft, and the tooling for those. And then being responsible for people who were doing the design of the primary and secondary airframe structures on military and civil aircraft. Then I got involved with our nuclear division, and I ran our mechanical engineering department. I worked on some designs myself for the ventilation systems of a new ducting system at the Dounreay prototype fast reactor plant, mixed oxide fuel complexes for Sellafield for British Nuclear Fuels, and then two interesting projects. The first one was for Kellogg's Cornflakes to put the first crunchy nut cornflake production line into Manchester. You know, from going from aircraft civil military aircraft into nuclear ventilation and mixed oxide fuel complex, mixing uranium and plutonium oxide, then doing cornflakes. So I always used to make sure I didn't get the drawings mixed up and the kids were glowing in the dark. And then I got made business development director for Morson Projects. There was only 2 directors in Morson Projects at the time. Then in 2004, we had a restructure within Morson Projects, and I was asked to take over the running of Morson Projects as being the managing director of Morson Projects, which I accepted. And those were some of my greatest years in Morson, being responsible for further growth in the organisation, creating an operations board, getting everybody into the same direction, putting our values in place, putting our strategy in place, opening new offices in Birmingham, Belfast, Hull. So I looked after Morson Projects for 8 years till 2012, and then Jed asked me if I could look after some of our major accounts in Morson International, which was the talent recruitment side of the business. And you think, well, how can you apply lean technology and lean processes and principles into recruitment? But you can. So we value stream map everything we did, found out what we did well, find out where the pinch points were, where we weren't doing so well, how we could make consistent processes and approach to everything, get customer feedback. So we had some workshops, got customers in, what went well, get feedback, and then design a service to exactly what they want. Probably the best bit of advice I've ever been given was from Jerry Mason. And I've said it before and I'll say it to other people. It's an old adage, but you have one mouth and 2 ears. There's a time to speak, but more importantly, there's a time to listen. But not just listen, hear what the people are saying. What are they saying? Why are they saying it? What do they want? And then how can we turn that into a deliverable for them, whether it be a technical project, whether it be a service, or whether it be a challenge that they've got that they want us to take on board and find a solution for.